This podcast is brought to you by the Deluxe Edition Network. To find more great shows on our network, head over to theden.show.
Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on, and welcome to Take on the World with Nathan Blaze. Nathan Blaze and Mike D. Nathan Blaze joining me again for part 2. Got it? 2 of the most secure facilities and places in the world, what they hold and what makes them so secure. So I see you're still drinking Mountain Dew Voltage. Yeah. I got rid of the disgusting beer, and I got something I know I love, Dogfish Head. He did not pour it out. 120-minute IPA. I happen to love this. This beer ages well as you go on. So the older it gets, the better it's supposed to be. This is the last of 4 that were given to me by Chelsea for Christmas.
Really?
Yes.
All right. So a little bit of a palate cleanser after your last one.
Yeah, I had a chocolate bar to cleanse my palate. So I want to mention up front, be sure to check out the den.show, Deluxe Edition Network. We are on there. We're glad to be included in that. There's some great podcasts on there. Go on to den.show. Check out the other podcasts they have to offer. And then always come back to this one. Make sure you come back to this one. And if you are new to this one, congratulations. You found one of the best podcasts in the world.
Yes, 100% unbiased opinion. Unbiased fact.
There's facts. They might not always be right, but there's facts. And there's plenty of bias. I'm going to be straight up about that. I'm opinionated, and I'm right. So, duh.
Yeah, always right.
Always right. With me is Nathan Blaze, my one and only known son.
Known?
Known? Yeah, Father's Day can be scary sometimes.
Okay. All right.
Usually it's my one and only known daughter.
Known daughter.
Known daughter.
Okay.
She could not make it. John could not make it. He's a flake. And John and I just got back from a trip to Florida. We drove down, spent a few days with his mom, and spent a few days with my very good friends, and had a great time. John caught a baby alligator, which I'm sure when he's back we'll talk about that.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you have some stories to tell about your times down there.
No, we don't share those stories.
Oh, they're those kind of stories then.
Actually, we were in the Kissimmee area for the first couple of days, and I really didn't care for the hustle and bustle and all the people. I'm not very fond of people. It was just too busy. And then we went down to Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. That was fucking beautiful. Like, you could drive on the road if you didn't want to be around anybody, you don't have to. But there's areas where you can be around people, and then there's areas where it's all spread out.
So you have the freedom of choice.
Yes.
To deal with people.
Yes.
Or not.
We went down to Pine Island. We went to Yucatan, both locations. One in Fort Myers, one on Pine Island. Enjoyed the one on Pine Island. The view was beautiful. And my friend Sherry said that Sherry and Mike, sometimes the dolphins come right up to the dock there, which is cool as shit. We saw some osprey diving in the water and pulling fish out. It was cool.
You could do the same thing. You just throw your hand in the water, pull them right
Pull
out.
out sharks.
Yeah.
Great white. Like Jaws, got nothing on me. I got him. No problem. Actually, I'm looking forward to going down there and diving with sharks.
I don't know if I could do that. I'm too much of a wuss.
You could.
You think I could?
You could, and I think you will. One day, I'm going to make you dive with sharks. You got to do it before I'm like 80.
I better hurry up then.
Oh, snap! Shots fired. So, what we were talking about, we were talking about the most secure facilities in the world. We did our top 5 and just do a recap on them, what they were. So if you're listening to this one and you want to go back and hear something about the others, you can do so. The first one we did was Fort Knox, or what really it should be called is the U.S. Treasury Kentucky Depository, or Fort Knox Bullion Depository.
Fort Knox is easier to say.
Yeah, I know. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex, which is NORAD and U.S. Northcom. We did U.S. Penitentiary Administrative Maximum, which is ADX Florence. We did Saddam Hussein's Baghdad bunker under the presidential palace. And we did the Granite Mountain. We did Granite Mountain, the Mormon Church Records Facility, which is a genealogical site. So if you want to hear about any of those, stop right now, turn around, go back to the beginning, and then go back one episode.
Do it now.
Now. And I will tell you that that was Nathan's first foray on the show.
My second.
Oh, that's right. You did the interview when Ann was here. When we interviewed the author of a great book, because Nathan was one of the readers of that book and enjoyed it very much. So we wanted to have him on when we did that. So it's Nathan's second. It's his first solo.
Yeah, first solo.
This is his first time second chair. This is chair 1. That's chair 2. See, in wrestling, you have a play-by-play. That's me, the research Nazi. And then you have the color commentary, which is usually John. And Lexi does a little bit of both. All right. Because Lexi does her research. Like, she loves telling me I'm wrong. She doesn't get to say it much, but she loves telling me it. So she does her research pretty good. John, when he's interested in a topic, does excellent research.
Now, how often does that happen?
It's happened a few times, and it's like me. You go off the deep end a little bit.
Okay.
Like, you get down the rabbit hole, and so when he's into something, he's into it.
And then I come in and I ask even more deep end questions.
You ask the questions of the stuff that I did not research, which makes me research different the next time, so I could try to catch some questions. But you're one of them guys, because we've had discussions. We would sit in the car and have discussions from a young age. He would sit in the car with me.
There you go.
When we drove out to Iowa the one time to see my father, Nathan stayed away for a while, and he babbled about, I don't know. I really don't remember. He just talked. You're talking about video games, I know that. And then he fell asleep for a while, and just when I started getting really tired, my champ woke up, and we started talking about, I do remember what we were talking about. The first thing we were talking about is putting laser weapons on a Navy ship.
Yeah.
And well, you were like 12 years old?
12 or 11.
So we're talking about laser weapons on railguns on Navy ships. We were talking about, there's something else. I know we were talking about Fallout.
Well, of course.
I don't know. There was something else that, like, I'm like, man, this is like the Fallout conversation. I get it's a video game,
yeah,
blah. But the railguns and laser weapons on Navy ships at 12 years old, and he knew his shit too. So
may have done a few research projects.
So, like, we've had great conversations, and that's why I asked him to be on, because he does ask the hard questions. Sometimes he stumps me. Cheers.
I'll take that victory.
So, on the next, now we have 5 to do today. 5 secure sites. Plus a bonus site. Now, Nathan knows the first 5. He does not know the bonus.
I know of the first 5 at least.
Well, I told you what they were.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I don't even know how to pronounce this. Is it?
I did at one point.
Svalbard?
Something like that, I think.
Okay, it's in Norway. It's the Global Seed Vault,
which I thought was just a store.
No, and I remember this because this is a recent thing. Like, this is within my lifetime. Like, the ones we did before, they started them in the 50s and the 30s. And, this one is, like, something that I thought was it was fake. And then found out that it was real. And that's why I wanted it on this list, because there's a couple things that makes this so secure. And we'll get there. Well, actually, we're going to get to the first one right now. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault in Norway. It's way up north. It's 1,300 kilometers beyond the Arctic Circle. So, number one, it makes it hard to get to.
Remote. Very
remote. The facility is located 390 feet inside of Permafrost Mountain.
Gee.
In Spitsbergen Island. It's well above sea level. So they don't have to worry about seawater getting into it. But there's something I didn't put in the research that I happen to know about this place. We'll get there, but sometimes they do have some water issues here.
Okay.
So it's well above sea level. It's the world's largest secure seed storage. Opened by the Norwegian government in 2008. So this was recent.
That's within my lifetime.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
When were you born?
I don't know. When were you born?
I was born in 1970, bro.
2002.
You're just a baby.
Not anymore.
I know. It makes me sad. Anyway, from all across the globe, crates of seeds are sent here for safe, secure, long-term cold storage in dry rock vaults. Now, they have had a water problem, but never near the seeds.
Yeah.
The seed vault's mission is to provide a backup against accidental loss of diversity in traditional gene banks. So they keep non-modified seeds. There's a lot, like some seeds you get there. What are they called? Some seeds you get are modified.
Yeah.
So
GMO.
They don't. If you replant seed from that seed, you don't always get the same plant.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the term for the seeds. Heirloom. Heirloom seeds, if you buy heirloom seeds, they're seeds from non-genetically modified plants. So they will always grow that plant. It'll always grow that variety. Some of the GMO stuff, it may grow the same plant, but maybe not the same exact variety. So the genetic composition of what you grow after that won't be the same. And sometimes they're not reproducible at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of seed companies did that because they want you to buy seeds every year. But you buy heirloom seeds, and you get the same plant, and you could take the seeds from those plants and plant them and make more plants. So what they're doing here is they're storing, for all of mankind, all of these seeds in heirloom seeds. So they're not genetically modified. The vault contains 930,000 samples. Each sample contains 500 seeds.
Math.
It's a lot. A lot. They're backup copies of heat seeds that are held in other seed banks. So all these other seed banks around the world, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are privately owned, some of them are publicly owned. They take they take a portion of what they have in their bank and they send it to this one. The cost of building this was completely funded by the Norwegian government. It cost $8.8 million in 2008. Norway and the Crop Trust pay for the operating cost. The storing of the seed, like if somebody sends them seed that they accept, the deposit is free. Doesn't cost you anything. As part of the Seed Vault's first anniversary, more than 90,000 food crop seed samples were placed into storage, bringing the total number of samples to 400,000. And that was in 1 year. Yeah, when you think about it, that's a lot of varieties.
A lot of seeds for each variety.
And they were that was 90,000 food crops were sent to them. So 90,000 different varieties of food.
That's insane.
And like they built this in case there was some sort of disaster where maybe nuclear holocaust, maybe a mass flood, maybe whatever. And you needed fresh seeds to restart, replant, and repopulate the vegetation. They could do it. Let's see. Among the new seeds included 32 varieties of potatoes from Ireland's national gene banks. 32. I didn't even know there was 32 varieties.
And I'm sure there's probably more, because that's just Ireland.
Yeah. There was also added were 20,000 new samples from the U.S. Agricultural Research Facility. Other seed samples came from gene banks in Canada, Switzerland, as well as international gene banks in Colombia, Mexico, and Syria. This 4-ton shipment
4 tons of seeds
brought the number of seeds stored in the seed vault to over 20 million. 20 million seeds. Imagine if someone drops some water and they all start growing. It'll be like vault, what's the vault with all the vegetation in it?
112?
Something like that. As of this anniversary, the seed vault contains samples from approximately 1/3 of the world's most important food crop varieties. All of that, and that's only 1/3. Like, it's a lot. 1/3's a lot.
1/3 is very much a lot.
But all of those seeds is only
1/3.
Wow. In 2010, a delegation of 7 U.S. congressmen handed over a number of different varieties of chili peppers.
Ooh.
That's very important because I love my hot stuff.
Now we have to have the chili peppers. We have to.
Gotta have hot stuff. By 2013, approximately 1/3 of the gene diversity stored in the gene banks globally were represented at the seed vault. So that now they're saying 1/3 of all the plants on the earth.
All of that's still only 1/3.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what makes this place secure is its remote location. I don't know how much security they have there, but you can't just walk in. You can't just go into this place. And who's going to trek all the way there to get there anyway?
And plus, who wants to be the jerk to destroy all that?
There's people who have that mindset that we should not survive, the earth should not survive, we should all die. There's crazies out there, dude. I know you think the best of people, I don't. So, on the 10th anniversary of the Seed Vault, 22nd of February, 2018, a shipment of 70,000 samples was delivered to the facility, bringing the total number of samples received to more than 1 million, not counting withdrawals. In 2019, the Seed Vault cost about $2.4 million KR, or $282,000 to maintain. So this is like now, in the way the world is now, this is a very important place in the world.
100%.
And I'm sure there is some sort of security. There was no information on security measures taken. I just know because it's so remote. And someone did tell me how heavy the doors were, but I did not write it down. So now I talked about water problems. What had happened was, on 1 year, I guess, global warming, the area was warmer than it had normally been, and water leaked more water leaked through the doors than it normally does at that time of year. And they said no seeds were ever in danger, but there was a fear because there was more water in there than they had ever had.
And with somewhere as big as this, with as many seeds, and a place that's this important, that's a big deal. Because any security breach, even if it's just a little bit of water, it can ruin so much.
Well, it could destroy humanity in the future. The $282,000 that it costs to maintain this includes a huge refrigeration system. The temperature is kept below zero in the vault. So what had happened to that's right. What had happened to this water that came in? It got so far, and then it froze into a sheet of ice because it's to keep it cold in there. So it's cold storage. So the temperatures, the location, the size of the door, and probably whatever security they have in place. And maybe they don't tell you what the security is because they want to keep you guessing. Don't know.
I mean, that's a good way to keep a place secure.
Yeah. I don't know what's there. I don't know what to walk into. So, that is our first one for today. The second one, and I don't know how to pronounce that either. This is also in Sweden. Paunen Data Center in Sweden. This place, you would love this place, dude. You would love the architecture on the inside of this place. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. I have.
Now you have me intrigued. I want to know. I have to know. Oh, that looks so cool.
I'm going to tell you why it's like that. The guy who designed this place. So what this is Bahnhof Paunen Data Center is the most secure data storage place in the world. It was built inside a Cold War era bunker, 100 feet of granite, below 100 feet of granite. Even if nuclear war devastates the Earth, the inside of the facility will remain protected thanks to its 40-centimeter thick steel door. Yeah. He's the guy who's the chairman of this company. Now, this is the largest internet service provider in Sweden. So it's like Xfinity here, I guess. Okay. He said, "I'm not sure about the people, but the machines would survive an atomic war."
Most definitely.
So
to some extent,
the CEO John Carlung secured a former nuclear bunker below 100 feet of Stockholm bedrock as a site for the data center. The site can withstand a hydrogen bomb. If power goes out, backup power is provided by 2 German submarine engines, which I thought was really cool.
That is pretty cool.
So this John Carlung was a huge 70s sci-fi fan. So the way he designed the interior has false waterfalls, indoor jungle plants, low-lying fog, a conference room with an image of the moon on the moon's surface on the floor.
I love this man already.
I know, it's so cool. And that hovering office that I just showed you the picture of. And I'm gonna throw some pictures up of this place if I can find more. But it is banging.
I love the fact that he put low-lying fog in.
Yeah.
I think that is so cool.
It's one of the best connected places in Northern Europe. It offers triple redundancy on the internet backbone access. The network has full redundancy with both fiber optic and extra copper lines with multiple different physical ways into the mountain. So if the copper is broke on one coming in, it's still coming in on fiber. If the fiber and copper are broke, it comes in a different way. There's like multiple ways in. It's 11,950 square feet of space for the data center, housing network operations center for all of their operations. One of 5, and that's one of 5 data centers. There's 5 of them. It is the largest and is manned by a 15-member team of senior technical staff.
I want to know how to get on that team.
That would be cool. I would love to walk around this place.
I'm sure it's an IT nightmare to upkeep.
I bet it's not. I bet it's not. As long as you're keeping up on your cooling fans, and like the server room is cooled to a certain temperature, and the cooling is maintained by the because number one, it's Sweden. Number two, it's deep in a mountain, 100 feet below bedrock. So your average temperature is 54 degrees. So any heat put off by that, as long as they're circulating at 54 degrees in there, it's not like the seed bank where they're taking it down below zero.
Yeah, I guess so. That it does a fair bit of the upkeep for you by itself.
And all you got to do is vent that hot air out somehow. I just thought this place was cool.
I think that's very
They say it's one of the most secure places in the world. I know it's the most secure data center in the world.
but they don't talk about the security.
They don't talk about the security, and that may be on purpose, again. But I have it on my list because it's fucking cool.
That is cool. The fact that they went through and did all of that extra crap just
Just to get the 70s sci-fi vibe. And
so
I'm such a fan of the 70s sci-fi vibe. I am. Star Trek. Nerd.
big nerd.
So, number 3. This one, now I got this one from another video I watched
Okay.
because I didn't know about this place. I had no clue.
I don't know about this place either. This is going to be an educational adventure.
This is Iron Mountain in Boyers, Pennsylvania. What if you were told that there's an impenetrable, blast-proof mine preserving irreplaceable documents of icons such as Bill Gates and Abraham Lincoln, stored in your own backyard in Butler County? What would you say?
You're lying.
Bullshit. It might be hard to conceive, but one man discovered a way to preserve important documents, films, and data in an iron ore mine after attempting to hit it big in the mushroom market. So the guy who built this place in the 40s, or got this place going in the 40s, was Herman Nost, and he was known as the Mushroom King. He purchased a rundown ore mine to raise mushrooms. And he did, and he was successful for quite some time, made some money. But then the mushroom market, as it always does, always, I have no clue about the mushroom market. The mushroom market took a turn, and he realized, I have to find another way to use this mine to make money, because I'm not going to make it growing mushrooms. So he founded the National Storage Company in 1954. It would branch out to buy mines all throughout the country to store data that would be secure from an atomic blast. Again, here we are again.
A given.
Almost everything we've covered was to secure from atomic blast. The Cold War was hell. The Cold War was a huge fear at the time when this was going on. So he went back and he saw how the Germans in World War II stored their information underground. The World War II Nazis, engineering-wise, did some amazing things. I don't condone anything the Nazis did.
No, not at all.
But if you look at the bunkers and shit that they built everywhere, and I watched a lot of different World War II shows, Band of Brothers, they have bunkers for miles.
Yeah.
And they built them quick, and they held up. Anyway, they watched how the Germans stored this stuff, so he thought he would use this method to benefit our nation instead of the Nazis. So these naturally cooled mines were essential in preserving files and objects that were deemed irreplaceable.
Now that we're going into this more, I'm starting to recognize a lot of information.
Yeah, I knew there was places like this. I didn't know there was one in Pennsylvania. I didn't know anything about Iron Mountain, which is weird because I love Pennsylvania lore.
Yeah.
So Nas confirmed to the American people and his clients that he could hold up to 1 million cans of information and would charge the public $2.50 per can stored in a mine. So I don't know what the cans are. It never really says, it just says cans in quotes.
I guess. Now, this is just me taking a shot in the dark, but I'm guessing it's probably some large canister, probably vacuum sealed or airtight,
Maybe like a 55-gallon drum. I don't know.
Probably about maybe this big, depending on what you're trying to store.
Round is hard to store anything in.
Well, yeah. So they're probably actually square or something.
Anyway, whatever they were, he convinced people that he could hold to 1 million of them, and he would charge $2.50 per year. This new method would change the way we preserve priceless artifacts and data. And it's only grown since 1951. Iron Mountain, located in Boyers, was bought in 1998 from the National Storage Company for $30 million to store documents, movies, vintage cars, and values. Now, this place has the largest stockpile of Hollywood film anywhere. Backup copies of Hollywood film. So, I'm telling you now, if the zombie apocalypse hits, this is where I'm going, because all I'm going to do is watch movies for the next 50 years till I die.
We have to go there. Fine. The Star Wars Christmas special. Before George Lucas can destroy it. We have to go there and get it.
So, he's storing vintage cars and everything there. So, 220 feet below the ground it's a constant temperature of 60 to 65 degrees. And that's due to a 150-acre underground lake. Because that deep down, your constant temperature should be like around 54 degrees. But it raises at 10 degrees because of this lake. The ambient temperature of the water, whatever. Which I thought was really cool.
That is actually pretty cool. That's a nice, easier, cheap way to keep prices down for temperature control.
Yeah. So this is a former limestone mine, and many of the most important commercial documents and treasures are kept there. 220 feet underground in Boyers, Pennsylvania. It's high security and a temperature control facility owned by Iron Mountain. It holds original negatives of more than 120,000 Hollywood movies.
That's crazy.
So I guess if I go there during the apocalypse, I got to figure out how to turn the negatives into film so I could watch them.
Well, you don't have time to start.
Maybe not.
Not too much time. But that's a spoiler.
Iron Mountain's Boyers location, most valuable treasure may be its 27 million piece Corbis image collection owned by Bill Gates. This includes glass plate negatives from some of the most important photographs ever taken, including iconic shots of Albert Einstein and Marilyn Monroe. Of course, Mr. Super Rich has all his shit there.
Well, obviously.
The site boasts its own restaurant, fire trucks, water treatment plant, and it manages its own underground community.
Restaurant. I think that'd be interesting just to go there and eat at the restaurant.
Yeah. Might be a cafeteria.
Still, you could say that you were there and ate there.
Yeah. I ate at Iron Mountain. And all I got was a silly t-shirt. And indigestion. So the next one is
Chicken foil hat.
Again, anytime you put secret base, government in one sentence, there are nothing but conspiracy theories.
Nothing but truths. Truths.
So Groom Lake, which is Area 51, Nevada. So, like I said, anytime you put the word secret and government together, it'll stir up conspiracies. And this location has conspiracies in spades. Spades. So I'm not going to get into the conspiracies about this location. I'm not going to do it. That'd be a show on its own.
That is a whole different episode.
And I'd love to do that show, but I'm not doing it today.
Not.
So Deep in the High Desert is one of the most secretive military bases in all the world. It's so secret, everybody knows about it.
So secret.
But it's secret what goes on there. Area 51 exists as part of Nellis Military Operations Area. It serves as the military sex facility. Ooh, I'm going there. Test facility since the 1950s. And it's a test facility for a reason. It's very isolated, middle of nowhere. If one of those test planes crashes, it's crashing in a desert, not over a populated area.
Yeah.
So it's originally known as Site 2 or the Ranch. So the U-2 spy plane and one of my favorite aircraft of all time, the SR-71 Blackbird, were tested there, as well as the F-117 Nighthawk. So what they are saying is that the above planes, when they were being tested, are what inspired many of the UFO sightings, because it was a plane that no one's ever seen before. The SR-71 was back in the 60s, and it for its time, it was a very futuristic-looking aircraft.
Very.
So they're saying that's where all the UFO sightings came from. Area 51 is the most famous secret military base in the world.
I will give this to them for the fact that it's so well known. The fact that the base is so well known, so commonly known, but no one really knows what goes on there. That's impressive.
Yeah. And there's, I've talked to Lexi and I've talked to John about this, but my theory on conspiracies. Most conspiracies require so many people to be involved. And to have that many people involved and everybody keep their mouth shut, I find to be amazing, which negates the conspiracy to me altogether. Because the Navy SEALs who did the raid on Bin Laden's compound, 2 of them wrote books. One of them did interviews all over the place. They sign a paper every time they go on a mission not to talk about the mission. So if those guys couldn't keep their mouth shut, what makes you think people going to a base like this and working every day to keep their mouth shut about what goes on? I know to compartmentalize things. There's something called the CIA compartmentalization theory, where if you and I are CIA operatives, I know part of the mission, you know part of the mission, but neither one of us knows the whole thing. So neither one of us can be held accountable for what happens. So they catch you, they still don't know the whole thing. They'll never get the whole thing. They'll never get the whole picture of the mission because you know part of it and I know part of it and that's it. But it could be 5 people. So nobody knows the whole thing. They could do that there. I don't know. But I just find it, most of these conspiracies would involve so many people and all those people keeping their fucking mouth shut. I just don't see it.
My argument against that. Now, I'm not full on conspiracy theory, like the birds work for the bourgeoisie.
They do.
I'm not full on conspiracy like that. I do buy into some conspiracies, but my counter argument against what you're saying is the fact that, yeah, that requires a lot of people. That's still a lot of people that haven't said anything at all about this base.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That, like, my theory has always been that, but there are so many people that work on this base, period. Like, there's so many people over the years that have been in and out of this base. Thousands. And the only way I could see that none of them have said anything is so compartmentalized in information dissemination. And that's probably the way it is, but it's a lot of freaking people.
Supposedly.
Now, there has been people who have come from this base who said, I saw this, and I saw this, and I saw this, but they downplay them, they shut them up, they do whatever they got to do, and I don't know.
Who knows what really goes on there, except the people who are there.
What I do know, and I will not say how, but what I do know for sure, if you walk the wrong way on this base, you will have an M16 pointed in your face and told to turn around. All I'm going to say is I don't know how, but I know.
I do know. I don't remember the exact dimensions, but there's like a yellow zone and then a red zone. And yellow zone is, I guess, a non-lethal zone. It's a very small zone because red zone's huge.
Here's the thing: like they're constantly thwarting people from getting on the space.
Oh, 100%, like all
So
the time.
if you get too close to military, and this is from the research, not from experience, the military personnel driving pickup trucks armed with M16s, they're authorized to use deadly force on anyone who does not obey their command to stop.
Yeah.
If they try to continue into the base, they are authorized to use deadly force. Period. As of right now, there has not been such an incident. What they normally do is they take the trespasser, they turn them over to local authorities, who hand them a $600 fine and send them on their way. But they are authorized to use deadly force.
Which, if you're keeping experimental, like planes, jets, whatever, you obviously don't want people going in and getting them out, because we only learn about whatever the military's using
And
when they have something better.
hypothetically, if you're on a military transport and you have to emergency land, and they actually allow you to land there, when you disembark the plane, you walk the way they tell you to walk. That's it. So, due to a long history of supposed UFO sightings, there's been a tourist trade, which creates a bigger problem for them.
Yeah.
Because there's more people coming. There's a tourist trade in that area. Of course, there's T-shirts and keychains, including a themed hotel called the Little Ale Lee Inn.
That's fun.
The minor league baseball team in Las Vegas is called the 51. So, like, Area 51 is one of the most mysterious places in the United States. It's probably one of the most secure, but everybody fucking knows about it. It's not secret. It's not a secret base of any kind.
No. I still think it's miraculous that we know so little about it for how much it is known.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. The closest legal vantage point of the base is atop Tickaboo Peak, which is 26 miles away. That's a long while.
Yeah, that's quite a while.
So that's Area 51. Now, we could talk about Area 51 all freaking day. Like,
There's so much around.
there's so much that has gone on there, and maybe one day I'll do a show on Area 51.
But that'll be its own show.
But I think the whole Area 51, aliens, balloons, and I think that's been beaten to death. So that's why I haven't done one yet. But I'm still interested in it. So this show has always been about what we're interested in talking about. So it might happen.
Maybe.
I'd look down the road and maybe someday. Here's another one I'd love to do a show on. So this is our number one. Not in any particular order doesn't mean it's the most secure in the world, but it is one of the most secure places in the world. Except it has not always been the most secure place in the world. And in the research I found that. This is the Vatican Secret Archive in Italy. So officially called Vatican City State. It's an independent city-state and enclave surrounded by Rome, Italy. It became independent from Rome in 1929. It is a sovereign entity under international law. It's 121 acres with a population of 825. It is the smallest state in the world, both in size and population. It covers less area than New York Central Park. So imagine that. You got Manhattan, you got Central Park. It's smaller than that, and it's its own country. And yet, it is the most significant, historically perhaps, not because of what's the buildings that are on it, but what is underneath the building. There is a fortress-like bunker that is closed to the public, protected by armed guards. Inside lies 53 miles of shelving, more than 100 times the distance from one side of Vatican City to the other, and it's dug deep into the earth.
It's on shelves.
What's on the shelves? On these shelves sit 12 centuries worth of documents and unmatched history, not just of the Catholic Church, but as the world as we know it. In the first century, the Catholic Church had already begun keeping and maintaining records of its operations. By the 11th century, these records were being kept in 3 different locations. But you're going back to the Middle Ages, where things were very volatile. These locations were sacked, and there was a large loss of these records. A large portion of them were lost. So in 1404, the Vatican. So they moved. They were trying to more centralize. In 1404, the Vatican itself was sacked, and the Pope had to flee. And more than 1,000 years of history on paper and in artifacts were just thrown into the streets like trash. In 1612, Pope Paul V ordered that all church records be consolidated in one place under the Vatican. So now, yes, this is one of the most secure places in the world, but it hasn't always been. No. The Vatican was sacked, the Pope had to flee, and all these documents were just strewn about the street.
Lost.
So this became, and my Latin is not good, known as Archivum Spectrum Apostolicum Vaticum, which means the secret Vatican secret archive. Secret?
Secret.
It's a double secret.
Double secret.
However, the secretum part of it could also mean something else. And I don't know if I wrote it down because I started going a little long-winded on this one.
A little.
There's a lot of history here. Like
I believe it.
This is like they maintain like the history of not just the history of the church,
The history of the world.
world history, as they knew it. And some of the things that are here are freaking amazing. The archive holds a copy of the papal decree splitting the New World in 1493 after it was discovered, quote, by Christopher Columbus. The Inter Cartera, as it was titled, gave Spain control of everything 100 leagues away from the Azores and Cape Verde, and Portugal got the rest. And that is the reason why today in Brazil they speak Portuguese while the rest of South America speaks Spanish. And I always wondered that. Like you go to Brazil, Portuguese. You go to the rest, they all speak Latin or Spanish. Not Latin. Spanish. Not Latin. The original copy of the infamous
Manum
Pontificum.
Yeah,
It's-
what he said.
Is a document that excommunicated Martin Luther in 1521. The archive houses the letters sent to the Pope in 1530 by English noblemen, clergy, and Archbishop of Canterbury, asking that King Henry VIII be allowed to divorce his wife, Catherine of Aragon, so that he may marry Anne Boleyn. Written on an enormous 3-foot wide parchment, the letter promised extra measures if the Pope did not heed their request. Of course, the Pope rejected that request, triggering a break from the Church of England and the English Reformation. The minutes it contains the minutes from the 1633 trial in which Galileo was tried for heresy for arguing that the Earth revolved around the sun. The minutes of the trial against the Knights Templar are there, and they were misplaced, but they were rediscovered in 2001. So going back to like 1680. They were misplaced and they were found in 2001. That's how much shit's in there.
That's crazy that they even found them.
They were found by accident.
Really?
Yeah. They were not looking for them. They just came across them. Oh, here. This is why I put them. Jesus Christ.
Not again.
Nathan, did you put this here? I don't remember putting it here.
I was told to put it over there.
Others suggested that hidden among the archives are the cross that Jesus was crucified on, the crown of thorns he wore, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and the collection of great historical artifacts that were thought to be lost forever.
That's interesting. I mean, that would be amazing if it was there. That would be very amazing. But I don't know the likelihood that was kept.
I think the church kept everything. I would think that some of these things might be there.
Oh, I believe
Maybe
it.
not the Ark or the Holy Grail, but the crown of thorns and maybe the cross that he was crucified on. I could see them keeping it.
I'm pretty sure the Romans would burn the crosses after the crucifixion.
Oh, I think they reused them.
They did. I didn't do research on it.
I mean, someone some time ago they found the Shroud of Turin, which is the garment that he supposedly his bloody face was pressed into and has his image on it. I don't know. Until 1881, none of the highest level church officials had any access to the archives at all. That year, Pope Leo XIII opened the archives to select researchers. A policy which his successors have continued. Except you can't just walk in and look around. Every scholar has to be an accredited scholar. No journalists, no students, no amateur historians. Once the accreditation is received, they have to be approved. And when they go inside, they're followed by an armed guard, and they can't just go and look at anything they want. They can request 3 folders a day.
3 folders a day.
Yes, and these folders are not cataloged or organized, so they can contain anything. So really, if they don't want you to see something, they'll just give you folders of stupid shit.
Yeah.
This also means it could be years before researchers stumble upon anything of note. Worse still, the credentials must be renewed every 6 months, and they can be revoked at any time by the church for any reason. Meaning that the research something that happened to stumble upon something earth-shattering, their access could quickly be revoked. So if they stumbled upon something that they didn't want nobody to know, sorry, you can't come back tomorrow. But we'll get to it. But they found a book that is very interesting.
Really?
Yes. Right here it is. It was even found a book dated back from the 1200s, maybe even farther back, describing how to summon the devil by constructing a magic circle, sacrificing a baby lamb, and how to smite him into submission to make a deal with the devil. The book also described how to make magic talismans, amulets, and how to cast spells and summon demons.
Very interesting.
Intriguingly, the author of the book is allegedly one Hieronymus of Thebes, an apocryphal figure said to be possessed by the devil. The mysterious book was called the Grand Grimoire. Okay, so the Grimoires. Yeah, Grimoires.
Okay.
Supposedly, in one of them, they talked about a red dragon, which correlates to a verse in Revelation. And a red dragon appeared, blah, 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 blah. But it's just, they talk about dragons, they talk about magic, they talk about talismans, They talk about spell casting. They talk about summoning demons and summoning the devil. So D&D don't seem so nerdy now, does it?
Which seems quite historical. I will say, I don't remember the source, so please do trust me when I say this. Source, do trust me. Supposedly, it's thought that that's what the Great Flood was. The Great Flood was used to wash away.
Oh, Great Reset.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't get into that, but that could be another topic. I watched a program that basically showed evidence that there was a Great Flood.
I don't think there's any question that there was a Great Flood anywhere in history. I mean, I'm sure there's been multiple, but I think there's no question that the Great Flood happened.
Okay, let me rephrase that. That the Grand Canyon was caused by the Great Flood. That it wasn't carved out over hundreds of years thousands of years the way they think it was. There's evidence supposedly from this documentary, I don't know if I believe it, that it was that water draining that caused that erosion over a short period of time.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I thought, it was very convincing. I don't know if it's true, but it was interesting. I found it interesting. I think you would too.
I probably would. I find a lot of that interesting. I like knowing kind of like world history and how it interacts with church history. And I feel that there's a lot of stuff in history that just lines up and matches very well.
So the Vatican archives are not only in a sovereign country that you'd have to invade to get into, then you'd have to get into the basement. You'd have to get past armed guards. I don't think you'd make it far.
And even if you did,
you don't know what you're looking for.
You'd have to find your way through everything.
Yeah. Because there's not many people that have been in there. So that is the last of our regular top 10 that I originally started with. That's the last of our 5 for today. There is a bonus site.
Okay. This one I don't know anything about. I don't know.
You do.
I do?
I believe you do.
Okay.
The Greenbrier.
Greenbrier?
Yeah. Tell me you don't know about the Greenbrier. It's in Fallout 76.
No, I haven't played it that much.
The bunker in West Virginia that was made for Congress?
That bunker.
That bunker. So, it was codenamed Project Greek Island in the midst of the Cold War. The 1950s construction project began on a bunker that was meant to guarantee that the members of the U.S. Congress would be able to govern even after a nuclear war. The Greenbrier is where it was. It's located 5 hours from Washington, D.C. in White Sulphur Springs. I know you haven't played the game much because your computer, but damn, dude. Because our internet was so sucky back then.
But no, I know what this is. I watched a bit of stuff about it in the game.
Well, when they did the launch, Oxhorn, who's a YouTuber, he was one of the people who was invited to the Greenbrier for the launch.
Yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah.
They were in the actual bunker.
They went through, they did a tour of the bunker. That's why I thought you'd remember it.
I remember it now.
Okay.
Yeah. They did a tour of the bunker and they played it in the bunker.
Yes. Which I thought was so cool. I mean, we'll talk about that then, but built in 1778 as a luxury hotel, it's known for pampering its guests for the last 2 centuries.
Yeah.
And it still does.
Yeah.
It's still there, still does. And when you go down there now, you could take tours of the bunker. But that bunker wasn't outed until like 1992.
How long's it been there?
Since the 50s. I think it was 58. The Cold War brought constant fear of nuclear war fueled by the media and the government.
That's why so many different sites were built.
To the point where they did the duck and cover drills they were forced on school children all over the United States. Like if you duck under a frickin' school's desk, that you're gonna be safe from a nuclear blast.
Just to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah, I know. I know what it was. I know what it was for, but it's still disingenuous.
Yeah.
Only a small handful of people knew of the Greenbrier bunker's existence. Most of the members of Congress were never told about it because it never became necessary for them to know. They never had to relocate there, so they never were told. Since there was not a nuclear strike, most who served in Congress never learned of their existence during their time in Congress. But during that time, Presidents Ford and Vice President Humphreys made several visits to the Greenbrier, so it's likely that they did know about it. But there's no proof that they did.
Yeah.
So development began in 1958 and continued for the next 2 years. The Superior Supply Company was contracted to line an immersed crater which had been hollowed out beneath the hotel. But they were never told what they were constructing. When anybody asked, they were told that they were building a new exhibition or conference facility. Although some workers didn't buy that explanation. One such worker said, "We've got 110 urinals installed that we just installed. What the hell are you going to exhibit?" So there were some people who were specific.
New urinal technology.
Yeah, new urinal technology. The walls were lined with 2 feet of concrete and an extra barrier of steel. The roof was 20 feet below ground, with a highly sophisticated ventilation system that was not only designed to circulate air, but to filter radiation. The facility included a room specifically designed for holding sessions of Congress, complete with individual seats and microphones attached.
Yep.
Both the House and the Senate had their own chambers, and there was one larger room for joint sessions.
Yep.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. But it's also something that the government kept secret for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So, even from the government kept it secret from the government. And you got to wonder, where'd all the money come to pay for all this? Because not only did they build it, but they maintained it for all that time.
Yeah.
And there was like 30 years of food stores that were maintained in there.
I'm sure there's somewhere that you can figure out what fun.
I don't think you'll ever find it. There's black ops that have run off of money that nobody knows where the money was earmarked for this or that or a bridge or something, and the bridge was never built, and the money was used. Like the government's budget is so huge, it's so easy to hide money. It's a big money laundering scheme. The bunker housed its own TV studio, so they could address what was left of the nation. See, here's what bothers me about this. As I was researching and reading about this, our government is so power greedy that even after a nuclear holocaust, when there might be only half of the population survives, they still want to fucking control them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what party. I'm not talking parties. I'm not talking politics.
In general.
I'm talking the government wants to control you. And they've gone to this length to make sure that they could still govern and control you.
You know, you're getting borderline conspiracy there.
It's not conspiracy, it's truth. So the sleeping area resembled an army barracks with metal bunk beds. Each bed was assigned to a specific member of Congress. However, they were never used. The government had its own set of employees to maintain the food stores. It was 30 years of food stores and medical supplies, and keep it updated with constant state of readiness. Now, those employees drew suspicion from hotel guests and employees because they did no actual work at the hotel. It was kept secret for nearly 30 years until the Washington Post broke a story in 1992 exposing it. Even at the time the Washington Post story broke, Greenbrier spokesman denied the bunker's existence, claiming there is no bomb shelter, no government facility. I could tell you what I know is the truth. And that is the end of it. So the journalist was Ted Gupp, who broke the story, and he faced some severe backlashes for revealing the secret that had been so guarded for decades. Gup defends his decision, claiming that by 1992 the Greenbrier bunker was already outdated and could no longer serve its purpose in the face of a modern technology. Whether the government had simply moved the bomb shelter facility to another top-secret location has yet to be determined.
Probably.
Now, there is conspiracy and rumor that there is another facility just like this.
I believe it.
When this one came to the end of its life, they built a new one because 20 feet underground might have been good for the Hiroshima, Nagasaki type bomb, but it wouldn't be good for the ballistic bombs they have now.
No.
So now if you go down there, you can take a tour of the facility. If you take the regular public tour, it's like $40 a person. If you take a private tour, on certain days it's $800 some dollars. On other days it's $1,000, and it's up to 25 people, plus up to 50 people, plus gratuity for the tour guide. Or better yet, if you want to tour that facility, you can play Fallout 76. And you can wander through the Greenbrier and the bunker while shooting evil creatures from the Appalachian wasteland. I happen to be a Fallout 76 player. It's a Bethesda Games game. Nathan has played it as well. My nephew Bubba has played it. Actually, he puts me to shame with his ranking. I don't play it near as much as he did. In fact, for the launch of the game, Fallout 76, Bethesda Games invited industry people and YouTube gaming personalities to come to the Greenbrier for the launch. And if you go around YouTube after you're done listening to all of our podcasts, you can listen to different people who do video game stuff talk about being at the Greenbrier, and it's interesting. I find it interesting. Now, I have not actually in Fallout been to the Greenbrier. I don't think.
Now, fun fact. When they were in the Greenbrier and they played the game, they played it on the console. I think it was on the Xbox console. Don't quote me.
I'm not sure. It might have been. I think Oxhorn did say that.
Yes, because he was talking about how uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was uncomfortable with the controls because he used to play a PC version.
And they actually got to take the hard drive home, which is why I think it's an Xbox, because it's more common, at least from my experience, more common for people to change or add on hard drives to an Xbox. I know from my experience with changing hard drive from PlayStations that there's, at least if you do it the wrong way, like I did, kind of complicated. And by the wrong way,
I mean, by the wrong way, the PlayStation doesn't work anymore.
It was already broke, okay? It was already broken. So I figured, me being the intellectual genius that I am.
Genius.
Yes, the intellectual genius that I am. That I would open up the PlayStation and try and fix it myself. I did, in fact, discover what the problem was.
The problem was you!
And then I broke something else.
Let's ask Elvis. Who was the problem? Oh, Nathan? This was you, baby. So, that's our bonus site. We took on the second half of the top 5 plus 1 of the most secure sites in the world. Now, this last one is no longer secure, but when it was built, it was. And now you guys go take on the world, and I will have pictures to throw in with all this stuff. Hopefully I'll get some good pictures of the Greenbrier, because I wanted this one to be on the list. And then I forgot. And then when we were doing our thing today, I'm like, oh shit. I wanted to put that one on the list, especially for Nathan, because he's going to do it with me. I got to research. So I researched this one today. So there's probably a lot more information on this one that I could have found.
I'm sure.
However, I did not. But we took these on. You go take on the world. Have a great day.
Our podcasts exist because of listeners like you. To find other great shows, head over to theden.show. Thanks for listening.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that.
Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.